This is the 6th video in a series pointing out all the slanderous lies and misrepresentations found in the Amazon docuseries Shiny Happy People, Duggar Family Secrets in chronological order as they appeared in the program. We've started into episode 3, and next is number 55.
My family struggled to pay for the seminar because it was very expensive, and the homeschool program was very expensive.
This clip came immediately after the absolutely false claims that Gothard and his family were living extravagantly off IBLP money and that the organization was also wasting money on lavish things. You can see details to how false this is in the video link below. I wanted to point out how Shiny Happy People producers were cleverly using these flat-out lies before addressing the other false claim that the seminars and homeschool programs were very expensive. So the false narrative being set up here is that Gothard was living high on the hog while the poor ATI homeschool families scraped by to pay for the expensive seminars and curriculum. But notice they never explain what they mean by very expensive. That's because they weren't very expensive at all. A seminar fee was around $45 for a single person and around $75 for a couple. But you only paid that fee once and could attend the seminars for the rest of your life for free. Families often attended seminars yearly and didn't pay again ever. That is not expensive at all. The homeschool program was also not expensive, and the fee for a family was one fee that covered all the materials needed, enough for all the children in your family, no matter how many you had. So, for example, if you had a family like the Duggar family, you would pay the same as a family with only 2 children. So this idea that the materials and seminars were very expensive is absolutely false.
ATI was not just an academic curriculum, world domination was the goal.
Here they use Chad Harris's comment about world domination closer to the actual meaning he had in mind, because they aren't pairing it with the false claims about the alert program this time as they did earlier in their program. But what is not true about this is the word domination. This connotates the idea that IBLP and ATI want to take the free will of people and dominate them with Christian ideology. That isn't true. They want to spread the Christian way of life as they see it, like all Christian organizations do. There is no intent to control or force anyone to do anything.
And that's when we realized that I had signed this the day before we got married.
Signing.
And then I'm like, oh, I remember that. That's not what I thought I was signing.
We never gave our word that we're generally going to be committed to anything. This was fraud.
Earlier in the program, Jill talks about how everyone was hurrying around getting ready for their wedding, and the contract for the continuation of their TV show was on the table. While all the scurrying around was happening, they were trying to catch everyone to sign it so it could be turned in. This was not fraud. There was no intent to trick them. It may be true that Jill didn't realize that it would mean she would personally be responsible to cooperate with the family show as she had before, but it wasn't fraud. It was a misunderstanding. Fraud would mean that TLC and Jim Bob Duggar purposefully deceived Jill and Derek and caught Jill when she wasn't paying attention just to trap her into participating in the show. That is untrue. They are not victims of fraud.
When I was at a training center, one of the boys who was in charge of the maintenance at the training center, one night he came in and he climbed into my bed.
I'm going to stop it right here to make a quick point before continuing her false story. Although it doesn't say it in this clip, when you listen to the entire story, she infers that this maintenance worker came into her room using his master key uninvited. That is absolutely untrue. As you can see in another video on this channel, she tells a completely different story about this incident, and she actually invited him into her room. You can find that video in the links below.
I didn't know how to say, I don't want you in my bed, get out please, because I'd never been taught that. And not only that, but any back talk was beat out of us at a young age. So
in another interview, Lara makes it very clear she liked this man and was happy he was making these advances toward her, and that she was a completely willing participant in this behavior. It had nothing to do with her not knowing how to ask him to leave, or that backtalk was beat out of her at a very young age. Lara is just flat out lying here, as you can see in the other video I just mentioned. You'll find that again in the links below.
I can say with experience that sexual assault in training centers within the Institute under Bill Gothard is very real and rampant.
So here Lara is completely lying about her relationship with another staff member. Yes, she was actually a staff member also and had a master key as well, and uses it to falsely claim that sexual assault at the IBLP training centers was very real and rampant. This is a completely false claim.
Girls who disobeyed Bill got sent to Steve in the Northwoods.
Right before this clip, they actually show a controversy that was true, believe it or not. Steve Gothard, Bill's brother, had been sexually involved with several women on staff. These were all adult women that got into inappropriate relationships with him. There was a controversy about how this all happened and what was done about it, but in the end, Steve was fired. In the meantime, he was working at a property called the Northwoods, but there is absolutely no truth or evidence to show any such policy or practice that girls who disobeyed Bill got sent to Steve in the Northwoods. That is an absolute lie and is designed to suggest girls were sent there for abuse. There is no truth in it.
At one point, Bill Gothard is caught with a young woman in a cabin.
This is a story that has been shown to be false. Bill Gothard was not ever caught with a woman in a cabin. Yet there has been a concerted and coordinated effort by people online whose sole purpose is to bring down IBLP and Bill Gothard, and their website still posts this story and others as true, even though they know full well that it is not. This is all documented in another video I have on this channel, which you can find in the links below.
But he came up with this new teaching. It's the Matthew 18 teaching.
Calling this biblical, basing it on Matthew 18, making it impermissible to gossip, which means making allegations against leaders in particular. This is also part of the Duggar'S commitments.
The teaching in Matthew 18 was not designed to keep women from talking about abuse. There are many, many Christian teachings based on the idea that gossip is wrong. Gossip is tale-bearing by talking to someone who is not involved in the problem or in the solution. It doesn't mean not to tell someone who can help if you are being abused. Shiny Happy People is taking this teaching out of context to further the false narrative that IBLP was abusive to women. And notice how they tack on the Duggar'S. Right after that, they use a clip where the Duggar girls are explaining that gossip is not a way to solve the problem. Next time, the most egregious lies and mischaracterizations about sexual assault begin with Emily Anderson. Gothard groped girls in vans on a regular basis, and holding hands while praying is sexual abuse. All that and more next time. Thanks for watching, and please remember to like, share, and subscribe.